All set.
Thank you.
All right.
You're ready?
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 10th, 2021 PTAC meeting. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, this meeting is being held via Zoom platform. Please note this meeting is being recorded. If anyone is having technical or connection difficulties, please contact Conrad Amato at 336-214-4515 for support. For tonight's public comments to address the commission meeting, please indicate that you wish to do so by using the raise hand feature in Zoom, or if by phone, press *9 and our meeting host will notify me that you wish to speak. As a preliminary matter, I am Chair Mike Mills. I'd like to confirm that all commission members and staff members anticipated to be on the agenda are present and can hear me. At this time, I'd like to do a roll call, and if when I call your name, if you please just respond in the affirmative. And give me a minute to get the list of attendees. I apologize for the delay, trying to get my phone to work. All right. Let me go through the list. Moses Corbett.
Here.
Tammy Williamson.
Here.
Roger Mazenbach.
He may be late, Mr. Chair. He did email me. Yeah.
Benita Brown.
Here.
Butch Wilson.
Here.
Steve Harrison.
Here.
Joyce Harris. Joyce Harris and Steve Carter.
Here.
All right. Let me go back to my phone. The staff participants, I'll call your name, Director of Planning and Transportation, Mike Nunn,
Here.
and Interim Transit Manager, John Ando.
Here.
All right. At this time, I think according to the agenda I got from Mike, we are to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2020 PTAC meeting. I think those minutes were in the package that Mike sent out, or John might send them out. I need a motion and a second to approve and or deny the April 14th, 2020 minutes. I'll need a motion and a second.
I move we.
Say that one more time.
I move we approve the minutes from April 2020.
And who was that? I'm talking about
Steve Harrison.
Steve Harris. All right. I got a motion to approve. I get a second.
Second.
Got a second. Let me
Moses.
go through the roll call one more time, and we can officially, everybody give the yay or nay. Moses Corbett,
Yay.
Tammy Williamson,
Yay.
Mike Mills, yay. Roger Mazenbach, Benita Brown,
Yay.
Butch Wilson,
Yay.
Steve Harrison,
Yay.
Joyce Harris, and Steve Carter.
Yay.
That motion has been approved. At this time, I believe we need to elect our new chair and vice chair. So I am opening the floor up right at this time for any nominations for the chair and the vice chair. for the chair?
Well, I'd like to nominate Mike Mills.
Thank you, Steve.
I'd like to second that.
Thank you. I have a nomination and a second for the chair. You want to do, Mike, do we need to do this individually and do the vice chair?
You,
Or do we do it all at the same time?
you can do the chair and you can do them individually, but you can also count for all in favor and all opposed. We did learn that as well.
So I
On the
can
mo-
do,
on motions, yes.
so do the vice chair now?
Yes, sir.
All right, can I get a nomination for the vice chair?
Do we have a current vice chair?
Well, unfortunately, and I wanted to mention this, unfortunately, our vice chair was, has passed away. And I really hate to hear that. So we do not have a vice chair in place at this point in time.
Hmm. Well, don't everybody speak at once.
Was this a typical vice chair position in that you only serve if the chairperson is not available?
That's correct. And Mr. Mills attends most meetings.
What are some of the other duties of the vice chair?
Man, just the meetings in the absence of the chairman. That's really about it. We don't have any other required roles for the vice chair for Ptac, and the chairman is really just managing the meetings. And then if staff were need to ask about an agenda item, discussion of the meeting agenda, but that's really the limits of the chair and vice chair.
Okay, well, I'll nominate myself, Benita Brown. I guess I need to show myself.
Okay.
I second that nomination.
I'm sorry, I
Okay,
didn't hear.
we got a motion and a second for the vice chair. Let me go through the roll call again. And you said, Mike, you said we can vote for both. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let me go through the roll call, and you're voting for the chair being nominated is for Mike Mills, and the vice chair for Benita Brown. I do have a motion and a second for both of those. So if I call your name, if you respond with a yes or no. Moses Corbett,
Yes.
Tammy Williamson,
Yes.
Roger Mazenbach, Benita Brown,
Yes.
Butch Wilson,
Yes.
Steve Harrison,
Yes.
Joyce Harris, Steve Carter,
Yes.
and Mike Mills votes yes for both. Is that it, Mike, for that
Thank
one?
you. Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you. Yes, that's complete.
All right. Going down the agenda items. I think we're at a point now, Mike, do you want to, we got some, I think this now some linked transit system updates. I believe that's right. No, I need to back up. I'm sorry. I haven't asked for anybody, any speakers from the floor. I need to do that. Do we have anybody on the call that would like to speak from the floor of the public?
I don't think we do. I don't see anything. And
All right.
Conrad hasn't let me know.
Do we have any changes to the agenda? or anything, or any add-ins for the agenda items?
I'd like to ask a question. Just for clarification, what does the new chairman and co-chairman begin tonight? There for the tenure for 1 year?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else? All right, we do have a new interim transit manager. I think Mike wanted to introduce him and little talk about him before we get to his updates. Mike?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we do that, actually, and it has been, as you can see, since last April, we actually met. So it's great to see everyone again, and I appreciate your patience as we continue to work through these get through having these type meetings. As I've mentioned, some of you were on earlier, we've done this from other commissions that had action items during the pandemic, and it seemed to work very well with use of time. But before we talk about us, I'd like to, you've got some new commission members that it might be helpful, and that's why I sent out the new roster to everyone. City Council approved new members here a few months ago to the Ptac, and might be good just to go through that, even our existing members, and just to let them introduce yourself and learn a little bit about each other, and then I'll be glad to introduce John to you, if that's okay.
Absolutely. You may go first.
Sure.
My name is Mike Mills. I'm been retired from DOT a little more than a year. Retired last August from Department of Transportation. Had served 45 years with DOT. I retired as a division engineer. So still had a lot of interesting projects in and around Burlington and in this area. I've been on the Transit Commission since the beginning. It's exciting venture. This thing's been growing leaps and bounds since we started, and I'm lucky and fortunate enough to serve again.
Just go down the roster if you want.
I'll do that. Let me get the roster again. Sorry, I'm not technically.
Or I can. I've got it here in the packet. I'm sorry. I could have helped you out. Yeah, we can move on. Moses, why don't you?
Remember Moses up top? I remember him.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Moses Corbett. I retired from Piedmont Natural Gas in 2008, December of 2008. And I've been with the Transit, Public Transit Council ever since the start. So I've been around for a while, enjoying it.
Thank you, Moses. Tammy Williamson.
I am Tammy Williamson. Right now, I am a real estate title abstractor and a professor of sociology. I do both of those. I've been on the commission for a year now. This is my first meeting. So I'm glad to see everybody. Just see the emails.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Excited to do something. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Roger Mazenbach, did he ever join us?
I don't think he's joined yet.
Benita Brown.
Hey, everybody, I'm Benita Brown. I work at the University of North Carolina's chapter, as you can see from my picture. I'm not retired yet. Lucky Mike and Moses, I'm right behind you, I hope in 2 years. I'm not sure how I got here, but I'm glad I'm here. Before the pandemic, I was actually riding the Parks bus into work every day. So I am a little bit with how this transportation thing works.
Thank you, Benita. Butch Wilson.
Yeah, I'm a local guy. I was appointed as, I guess I'm a citizen at large. I'm not sure what I am really, to be honest with you. But I'm retired as well, local entrepreneur in the manufacturing business, associated with the wood industry. still keep my hands in that just a little bit. And married happily for 53 years. 2 local children. One of them is actually on one of the other boards, I think, Ed Wilson. And that's me.
Thank you, Butch. Steve Harrison.
Yeah, I'm kind of a local boy. I was born in Florida, moved here in the 70s and went to Western High School, ACC, was in the Army for 7 years at Fort Bragg, and I was a manufacturing manager at AMI for about 22 years. I'm currently, and have been for the last 5 years, the chairman of the Town of Gibsonville Planning Board. I'm also on the Development Advisory Committee there. And we've been working on a lot of stuff. I'm a big supporter of public transit, and I just love the Link transit system, and, you know, want to keep it going. So.
Thank you, Steve. Did Joyce Harris ever join us?
I don't think so.
Not sure. Steve Carter?
Well, I'm also retired. I've been in Burlington now. My wife and I have for about almost 20 years now, and retired banker. I was in banking for 35 years and then did management financial consulting for about 10 years after that. Ran for county commission in 2018. I'm serving as a county commissioner now. I serve on the ACC Board of Trustees and the Link Transit Board, the Park Board, and ACTA Board, and have recently served on the Health Department Board and on the Library Committee and a couple of other boards I can't bring to my mind right this minute. So been around here a while and enjoy Alamance County and want to see us do whatever we can to try and improve transportation for those less fortunate that need public transportation to get where they need to get in our community and to other adjoining communities around us.
Thank you, Steve. Mike, I think that's everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. I appreciate everybody
No, thank you.
doing that. So I am Mike Nunn. I have talked or emailed to everyone, I believe. Hopefully I have. I'm the director of planning and transportation for the city of Burlington. Obviously, Link Transit is in the transportation department. Have been with the system since it started in 2016 as well. But the transit manager position is vacant currently, and we did go through a process of recruitment. And in my mind, we were very fortunate to have John apply for the position, and he was our top candidate. But during that process, he had some things change personally and offered, and we came to an agreement to where he would be able to help us in a part-time situation while he was, not able to come with us full-time. So I'm very pleased that that worked out. He's highly experienced. You can see the slide there. Hopefully, we were very excited for the chance to get him full-time. But he was recently in Columbia with the Comet system in Columbia, South Carolina. And as you know, our system, we've just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, and we're growing. COVID has hit everybody, so that's sort of an asterisk on everything. But our system is growing. We're looking for expansion, and we're going to get out of this thing at some point. But our community has responded very well, and John's the kind of person that we need for our operations, to our contract management, to our grants management, and things of that nature. So I'm pleased that he's able to do this part-time. Virtual's very good. Another good reason to have that. He's able to join us on Zoom more often, but he's always available to me, and he makes himself available whenever anything's needed. So we're going to use his skills and talents as long as we can, but I think you'll enjoy working with him and his presentation tonight, and you'll see, just his knowledge and wisdom about a much larger transit system that's going to help us as Link Transit continues to grow and get going. So I'll turn it over to him and let him give you his presentation. He's done a good job putting this information together, but COVID has done a lot of things, and Link Transit has operated basically the entire time, just so you know. Our ridership has changed, of course. We still do wear masks. That's a federal mandate. We've had no issues with that. Our riders have been very thankful that Link Transit exists, and we did not shut down. We had some delays and pauses, as everybody did, but TransDev, our service provider, has been excellent to work with. And maybe that's why, you didn't hear, maybe not have heard from me as much as you have before, because we ran fairly smoothly for what we were going through. And I'm just very pleased to report that. But hopefully now we're ready to start getting back with you more often and just keeping you updated on how well Link Transit is doing and some things we've got planned for the future. So I'll turn it over to John, and John, you can add what you like, but you can take it from here.
Thank you, sir. You covered it well. I look forward to working with this committee more, and we'll jump right into our presentation. So going into the transit operations, this is the system-wide total. I wanted to give you a perspective of just how Link Transit has been doing in the past 2 fiscal years and our year to date. So in 2019, before the pandemic, we had 111,848 total passenger trips on the fixed route and paratransit systems combined. And then, as you know, the governor and the president at the time declared us to be in a pandemic on March of 2020, which we're still in to this day. And you'll notice that in calendar year 2020, the ridership dropped to about 60,688 total passenger trips between fixed route and paratransit. We also reduced transit services to have all the routes and paratransit end at 6:30 p.m. Year to date, we're at 32,380 total passenger trips. In the months of April and May, we started to see an uptick in passengers utilizing the system, and especially going fare-free system-wide. That has also helped as well as things started to reopen and the stay-at-home order was reduced. So this gives you a perspective of how the fixed route passenger trips were in 2020 between the blue, red, orange, green, and purple routes. And you'll see that in April, we definitely took a dive. And then purple kind of started to grow, as well as the others in May. And then kind of remained flat, with orange taking an unusual increase in the November timeframe and then normalizing back in December. And then going into 2021, ridership continues to kind of remain flat, but it's starting to, as you can see in the June timeframe, starting to have an uptick. And that's because on June 7 is when we went fare free. You'll notice in July, however, blue kind of took a decline in ridership to just under 800 passenger trips. This chart gives you a perspective of how the transit system, the fixed route transit system, has been performing since the creation of Link Transit back in June of 2016. And you'll notice that when you look at 2021, you'll notice that in June and July, we're about, June was 4,200 passenger trips, July was 4,900 passenger trips, and definitely an increase over 2020 timeframe when we were in a different state. This kind of breaks down the data further. In 2020, we had 58,754 passenger trips on the fixed route system with a monthly average of 979. Year to date, we're at 29,324 with a monthly average of 838. And then you'll notice that this fiscal year, our most popular route still remains purple, followed by the red route, followed by the orange, and then blue, and then lastly, the green. Going into the paratransit system, paratransit ridership definitely is on the up back when you look at 2021, as just compared to what occurred in 2020 during the pandemic. The paratransit carries a sensitive type of population. So most of the population opted to not travel as much, which is why you'll notice in 2020, most of the trips were in the low to high 200s per month. And then starting in August, as things started to reopen, you'll start to see that increase into where we are today. And actually June, we had a high of 505 passenger trips on the paratransit system. So looking at 2020.
John,
Yes.
can I stop you real quick? Because I keep forgetting we do have a new member. Just explain real quickly what paratransit is.
Yes.
Yes.
So paratransit is a service for persons that are disabled that cannot ride normal fixed route transit service. In order to be eligible for paratransit, you go through an application process. We assess to determine your abilities to access a fixed route bus stop or get to a fixed route bus. If you're not able to do one of those two functions, then you could be determined eligible, and you can in essence have door-to-door service within a 3/4 mile radius of linked transit routes. And as we go through this presentation, I'll show you the route network of where our routes operate within Burlington and Gibsonville.
Thank you.
So in 2020, we carried 4,593 passenger trips. And for those, to help you understand what a passenger trip means, it doesn't necessarily mean a rider. It means a person boarding a bus. So if I boarded the bus 10 times, I would be counted as 10 passenger trips. And this is how we report information to the National Transit Database, which is called Unlinked Passenger Trips. In 2021, year to date, we're at 3,056 total trips. And you'll notice that ridership is starting to grow on the paratransit system as people are starting to make more paratransit trips. Going into transit services, some things I would like to cover is fare free is the first one. On June 7, after going before City Council, we are utilizing our CARES Act funding that we received from the Federal Transit Administration to make linked transit fare free. The fares were generating a very small percentage of revenue for the transit system. So by going fare free, this allows us to generate more passenger trips. And based on how the Federal Transit Administration formula works, we can in essence generate additional federal funds to our urbanized area by increasing our revenue miles as well as our passenger miles generated from passenger trips. And so far, it's been very successful. Our riders are definitely loving the fact that we're fare free. Also on June 7, we went back to pre-COVID-19 service levels, which resulted in buses returning to an 8 p.m. End time. Previous to when the pandemic started, we were ending at about 6 to 6:30 p.m. between the 5 routes. So by adding that evening service has allowed people to continue accessing transit for shopping reasons, quality of life opportunities, educational opportunities, and employment opportunities. So this is the present transit service as it stands today. And the 5 routes that we're operating, they all originate from the temporary transit hub in downtown Burlington off of Worth Street. As I mentioned, we've returned to pre-COVID-19 levels. So buses start at 5:30 in the morning and end by 8 p.m. We are looking to expand the transit system depending on getting additional bus operators to adding an 8:05 p.m. trip to all 5 routes sometime in 2021, 2022. And this would allow opportunities for those that go to late night college courses, that work at Walmart or retail, and a last chance opportunity to get home. When we expand transit system service hours on the fixed route, paratransit also follows pursuit. And then to go back to the paratransit radius. So for each of these lines that you see on the map, there's a 3/4 mile bubble that goes around each of those routes. And that's the boundary of the paratransit system, which allows us to provide that either door-to-door or curb-to-curb service, depending on the user's abilities to access the bus. Saturday service will be coming, hopefully towards the end of summer. And we'll be adding Saturday service to all 5 routes. This has been a request from many of our riders. And you'll notice that on the schedule, the black times in the box is the times that the service will run on Saturdays. And we're looking at service from about 9:25 in the morning until about 6:28 in the evening. And it's going to vary by route. but we're anticipating that this will be very successful. From talking with our contractor, we're estimating a mid-September start. They're currently actively trying to hire additional bus operators to make the Saturday service happen. I'd like to go into our procurement strategy. Our fleet is about to age out. The buses that we purchased in late 2015 and were delivered in 2016 year vehicles or 200,000 miles, whichever comes first. And that's the minimum requirement that the Federal Transit Administration has set for the type of vehicle that we have. The colorful Linked Transit bus is the type of bus we have today. That's called an RBOC Spirit of Mobility. The Linked Paratransit bus that you see to the right is an Ameritrans high floor cutaway vehicle. As part of our proposed procurement strategy to replace the Linked Transit fleet, we're looking this fiscal year to replace 2 of the 7 Spirit of Mobility buses with a 30-foot electric bus that would be procured from Build Your Dreams, also known as BYD. Some of you may have seen that bus that was in the city on demonstration earlier this past summer. In addition, to reduce our costs that we pay to the fixed route and paratransit operator, we would actually buy 3 paratransit vehicles that would be city-owned. The current 2 paratransit vehicles are owned by Transdev today. In fiscal year 23, we would purchase 2 of the current RBOC Spirit of Mobility buses to replace the current older 2 Spirit of Mobility buses that we have. In fiscal year 24, we would purchase another 30-foot BYD electric bus. And then in fiscal year 25, we would purchase 2 additional Spirit of Mobility buses. So in essence, we would have a total of 4 Spirit of Mobility buses and 3 electric buses. We are purposely staggering out this fleet so that, one, from a financial perspective, we'll be able to obtain these vehicles because we will also be using federal funds that come to the Burlington urbanized area, as well as vehicle tax funds we get from the city and state funds that we're going to pursue on an annual basis. So our goal is by fiscal year 25, all of the 2016 buses would be retired. And we would have a combination of 12-year, 500,000 mile heavy duty buses, as well as 7-year, 200,000 mile medium duty buses. The paratransit vehicles will be 4-year, 100,000 mile light duty buses, and they would not require a commercial driver's license, which will allow our contractor to hire drivers that have a Class C license to drive those buses. And with the intimacy level of those the clients that Paratransit serves, a big cutaway vehicle is not needed. To give you a perspective on electric versus gasoline costs, presently in March of 2021, regular gasoline was going for about $2.72 per gallon on average in the state. When you convert electricity to an e-gallon, we're looking at 96 cents. In order to implement electric buses, we would partner with Duke Energy to be placed on a special rate structure to pay for the charging of these buses. And we would also construct chargers at our contractor's facility to allow for the charging of these buses. These are what the buses would look like that we're proposing to get. The buses on the top is the Spirit of Independence, which is a low floor paratransit vehicle. And the photo shows you what it would look like inside. Basically, these buses would seat 6 to 9 people and have ample space for mobility devices like wheelchairs. The bus underneath the interior of the Spirit of Independence is the BYD electric bus. It's the first transit heavy duty transit bus that we would operate in Burlington. We envision that this bus would operate on the red and the orange routes. And it's on a heavy duty chassis and is 30 feet long. And then the bus underneath the Spirit of Independence is our current Spirit of Mobility that we would continue to purchase and utilize on the other routes. All of the buses would be branded to look like the Spirit of Mobility with the colorful blue, white, and green paint scheme that you see on the picture below. Continuing on, we have installed a new bus shelter in Gibsonville on Burke Street. and this is a photo of that new bus shelter that was installed. We're continuing our process to install more bus shelters. We do have funds available to do so in either Gibsonville, Alamance County, or in the city of Burlington. And we're right now building a list of potential new locations of where we will add those additional shelters. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the Saturday service, free fares, the proposed procurement strategy, bus shelters, or any operational questions that you may have.
Hi, John, I have a question. For the free fare, is that intended for a certain time period, or is that indefinite as far as, as long as we have funds that will cover it?
At the present time, it's indefinite as long as we have funds to cover it. We've been building a financial plan internally of how we're going to fund the transit system going forward, and we're taking that into consideration.
Great.
I have a question. John, where can we find a map of the stops? I saw you had a picture of it. I have never seen that. Is it online?
It is online at, let me go back to the map, at linkedtransit.org. We also have the brochures available at Alamance Community College, Burlington City Hall, Burlington Transportation Office, on the buses, and at Gibson Town Hall.
Another question. So we didn't have any issues with shortage on bus drivers.
We are having some challenges right now with bus drivers, and actually on August 16, we'll be going before City Council to discuss a contractual amendment to TransDev to increase the compensation of the drivers by $3 from $12.69 per hour to $15.69, so that we can help TransDev in being able to recruit more bus operators to meet service. Right now, service is being covered. However, but that's why Saturday service and this possible evening expansion is delayed, because we don't have enough operators to be able to deliver those services.
And how many hours do they normally get per day?
They get 8 hours. They do an
great.
8-hour shift.
Is that 40 hours a week?
40 hours a week, yeah, full time.
Thank you.
Right now, some of the, because they've lost some drivers, some of the drivers are working overtime, so they're getting time and a half on top of that.
And that's a good point there too, because to go to Saturday, as you can imagine, we've got to basically get a whole group, another group of drivers. So it's a little bit challenging. Good question.
Do you offer benefits to the full-time drivers?
Yes, Transit does provide them with health, dental, retirement benefits.
John,
Yes, sir.
with the vast difference in the operating cost that you had on the screen a while ago, is it simply a matter of purchasing power 272 versus 96? Is it, and 272 is low, of course, now.
Right.
So the question is, to me, from my standpoint, is it strictly a financial decision as far as purchasing the buses? Is why we don't go ahead and do these now, or what's the story there?
Well, there's several things to the situation. One, in order for us to effectively retire the current bus fleet that we have, we need to get to 7 years or 200,000 miles, whichever comes first. And we're very close on a lot of the buses to 200,000 miles, and we're also very close to 7 years. So by us discussing the procurement strategy now and placing an order for the bus, we're looking at 1 year to 1.5 years for the buses to be delivered. As you know, with the pandemic, there's been issues with computer chips and metal. So buses are getting delayed in their delivery. So that's why we want to start now in placing that order. So by the time they're delivered, we can effectively start retiring these buses out.
Okay, thank you.
And plus, John, you mentioned, which I thought was good, you know, as you transition, you still have a mix of different technologies. So if something is not quite right, you still have other equipment available that's of a different technology.
Exactly.
Yeah. You've still got your gas available, you got your electric available. So it's a transition process for sure. And it's also a good point about that. The cost is, you know, you transition with that cost instead of buying 7 brand new electric at one time.
It
Yeah,
also gives us an opportunity to ensure that we're not putting all our eggs in one basket right now. Electricity is still an emerging technology that we're all in public transit learning on how to operate and put into our current ways of how we run transit. There's also technologies like hydrogen that potentially could be considered. So as we go down the line in this procurement strategy, it gives us an opportunity in the future that if we wanted to replace the gasoline buses with hydrogen, we'll be able to do so as the technology evolves. Any other questions that I can answer about our latest accomplishments or service? All right. I'll turn it back.
I think you can see it's been lots have gone on. It's been a busy year. But you know, just want to keep you updated, and you know, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. Thanks, John.
We definitely have more to come in the upcoming months, including procurement of a new transit operator as the Transdev contract will expire, and getting a consultant to help us in studying a new maintenance facility and downtown transit facility, and just evaluating the transit system. So we'll definitely keep you posted as we undertake those projects. Otherwise, I'll turn it back to you, Chair Mills.
I appreciate John. Thank you, Mike. Moving on down the agenda. We have any reports or questions from our PTAC members? Do we have any items or any agenda items for our next meeting that you'd like to see on the agenda?
I do have one thing, and Mike Nunn has already heard about this, but I spoke with Sean Ewing, who was on the Mebane City Council a few weeks ago, and he was really interested in possibly linking Mebane with the Link transit system. And I think he spoke to Mayor Baltutis about it, and Mike Nunn, if I'm not mistaken. That's what Ian told me the other day. I realize that's a big leap, and you know.
Yeah, I can add a little info just for everybody, new and existing members. I think our existing members will remember purposely back in 2015 and 16, Burlington City Council made the system where if we had other partners that wanted to be involved, that we could reach out and connect them to Link Transit. So that opportunity is open at any time to any of our community members. You know, just so you all know, if you're out in the community. I've also had communications with Elon as well. So there's interest going on, but we welcome that, and we're able to absorb that. That definitely will be some operational things for John and I to work out, and equipment. But yes, that's promising to hear and positive to hear that interest coming from other communities.
Yeah, he's just one city councilman, so you know, I don't know if
that's how it starts. Yeah, that's good. It's just good to have the conversation. Mike
Right.
and Moses may remember we were at the beginning trying to get everybody at the table, and you know, it just wasn't right for some communities. But that's good to hear that conversation is coming back up again.
It is. Have you heard anything about the city of Graham? Have they expressed any?
Have not. Those are.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to see added to agenda for the next meeting?
Do you think this topic of possible expansion we should talk about at the next future meeting. What it would take to expand the transit system and costs and whatnot, and what concept of service, just high level.
I think that would be most interesting is
Yeah, I think so
people
too.
like myself, sure.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's at least as far as the Mebane connection is concerned, I know that, you know, nobody would do anything until they know just how much they're talking about. You know, for the city of Mebane and where it would go and stuff like that. So yeah, we can just, you know, do a rough, take a rough look at it.
And again, not to keep saying it, but for the benefit, so you all know how that does, like for Gibsonville, for example, they only pay for service inside the town of Gibsonville. It's revenue hours inside the town of Gibsonville. It's not the whole system back in Burlington. So it would be a very similar formula for a Graham or a Mebane or whatever. It's the service that's inside your corporate limits. I mean, that's the way it exists right now.
Right.
How many transit systems, isn't it a couple of transit systems that come into Mebane from Orange County?
There are. You have Go Triangle, and you also have the Orange County Transit System.
So would the link hook up with them?
Sure.
Is that the plan
Sure.
or the possibility of a plan?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, isn't parts, couldn't they connect with the parts bus?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, but we've got got lots of opportunities. As you know, we have two park and ride facilities. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity for that. And that has been talked about in the early planning stages back in 2010.
Yeah.
So maybe some of that can come together. But we do have lots of potential, you know, just by geography of things being connected with public transportation.
Right. I just thought that maybe Lincoln Tanger, shopping center, ACC, for people in Mebane going to ACC. There's a lot of connections there.
Sure.
Are the park and rides you're talking about, Mike, inside the city limits of Burlington or just the county?
We have one at the Regional Medical Center. There's one out there that Link and Part share, and then there's one other that's actually in Graham that Link and Part both serve. And then there's actually a third one, if you call it, is at the community college, is actually a park and ride connection. It's Part and Link both serve the ACC main campus.
Yeah, isn't there a route that goes from either ACC or Mebane to downtown Chapel Hill?
There is.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
And that's Part and not Go Triangle.
It might be Go Triangle. I haven't checked lately, but they both could be doing that.
Because I know they were at one point they were having to run two buses because one wasn't enough to carry the people.
Correct.
A lot of interest in that.
That's
It's
correct.
Go Triangle, Mike.
Is it? Okay. Yep.
And Mebane is actually planning a park and ride lot. And we've been, Mike and I have been participating in the park and ride lot coordination meetings for that. So perhaps at the next meeting, when we talk this high level discussion, we can give more updates on how that process is coming.
That'd be great.
Okay. I think we
Is
just
there- Go ahead, Mike.
at least need to say hello to Roger Mazenbach. He's joined us, I believe.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Roger.
We're at the end, Roger, but thank you for joining us.
Sorry, it can only be one place at a time. It just worked out that way.
You're
Trying not to
fine.
let it happen again.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Thank you for calling in.
All right, I think I sit on the agenda items. Is that right, Mike? I believe that's right.
That's correct. And we'll monitor. Definitely want to update you frequently. If we have any action items, we'll pick a meeting date. We don't have a meeting date set. This is our normal meeting date of the month. It's the second Tuesday.
Right. So you'll let us know.
We'll let you know. Yes, sir.
That'd be great. Is any other questions or comments from the members?
You'll let us know if we have a meeting or we will have a meeting.
I will let you know if we're going to have a meeting.
All right, that sounds good. And thanks to everybody that's in attendance, and look forward to seeing everyone in person at some point in time. I don't know when that will be right now, but it'd be great if we can all see each other in person. But with that, if there's not any other questions or comments, I'd like to get a motion in a second to adjourn, and I'll go through the roll call again. Can I get a
So
motion in a
moved.
second to adjourn?
Second,
All right. I got a motion and a second. Let's go through the roll call. If y'all could just confirm the motion to adjourn. Moses Corbett,
Yes.
Tammy Williamson,
Yes.
Roger Mazenbach,
Yes.
Benita Brown, Butch Wilson,
Yes.
Steve Harrison,
Yes.
Joyce Harris, Steve Carter,
yes.
and Mike Mills, yes. Again, thank y'all for attending, and I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Mike, I think that's it.
Thank you all very much. Take care.
Good night,
Thank
folks.
you.
Good night.
Bye.